Hey there everyone, welcome back to Utility Sports, and we've got an incredibly fun and exciting video, especially for Minnesota Wild fans, coming at you here in this one. Before we jump into the actual news that we have to talk about, I just want to urge you guys to hit that subscribe button. If you are new to Utility Sports, a lot of NHL content, NFL content, MLB and NBA content we post pretty much daily here on the channel, and have a lot of other fun stuff going on as well, some live streams and some things that we definitely want you guys to be a part of. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like on today's video if you do enjoy, and also hit that notification bell. It'd mean a lot to us. Check us out in our socials too. We have those in the bio below, so go ahead, check those out if that's something you're interested in. TikTok specifically is the big one that we'd love to have you guys be a part of. So now let's break down the actual news that we see here with a big time tweet from the Minnesota Wild. Absolutely massive what we're seeing in this, because this was, I think, in my opinion, one of the biggest storylines of the entire NHL offseason. Kirill Kaprizov was not under contract. He had such a phenomenal rookie year, and he's a very intriguing, enticing player because of how dominant he was in his first year in the NHL. Of course, had found so much success playing outside of the United States that it made so much sense for him to be so dominant once he got here. However, there was concerns that he maybe would leave the NHL, return to a league he had played in previously, where he would have gotten paid very handsomely over there as well. But now, in turn, he is staying in Minnesota, in the state of hockey, in the United States, with the Minnesota Wild, and on a fairly good contract, honestly, in my opinion. I thought he was going to get a little bit more than this. $9 million annual average value here, as the Minnesota Wild are announcing a re-signing of forward Kirill Kaprizov. Played a lot of his time at left wing in his rookie contract, in his rookie season rather, and now this new contract is of 5 years worth up to $45 million. Again, that is a $9 million average annual value, and it lasts through the 2025-2026 season. And Minnesota Wild fans, you guys should be extremely happy to be keeping the Calder Trophy winner there in the state of Minnesota, because he's an absolutely electric player on the ice, and he's really restoring that Minnesota Wild franchise, a franchise that has had some issues in the past. Ever since the North Stars left, Minnesota, the state of hockey, hasn't had the highest level of NHL play. Let's be honest about it. Very good college programs there in the state of Minnesota. The U of M Golden Gophers, of course, University of Minnesota Duluth, Minnesota State Mankato, the Mavericks are usually really good as well. There's a lot of talent in that state when it comes to hockey, and the Minnesota Wild hadn't been living up to that for some time, of course, and they brought in Suter, Parise. Neither of those two are with the organization anymore, but it kind of was a changing of the guard a little bit for that Wild franchise. And now Kirill Kaprizov is the build-around player for the Minnesota Wild. In his rookie season, he put up 51 points, 27 of those being goals, 24 of those being assists. So he was very dynamic with his ability to not only create and score himself, but create for others, put others in positions to succeed. That's very vital in that Minnesota Wild organization, because their forward play over the last few years has been a little up and down, especially outside of the first line. So having a guy like Kirill Kaprizov who can make others better around him is essential to building a good hockey team. And I think Kirill Kaprizov is going to be one of the best in the league for the next few years. You're also looking at Kirill Kaprizov being a smaller player in general. He's only 5'9", but he does weigh in at 185 pounds, so he is compact, kind of like a bowling ball, a little bit with his physicality he's able to play with while still maintaining top-end speed as a skater. Last year played in 55 games, had 3 game-winning goals, which I think was one of the big storylines where Minnesota Wild fans were getting really excited, because Kirill Kaprizov was not only good very consistently, but he was really good when it mattered. He made a lot of big-time plays down the stretch of games and really helped the Minnesota Wild get into the playoffs and become a better team than I think a lot of people were expecting going into last year. He was a +10 in terms of his plus-minus, so he was very productive when on the ice, and the Minnesota Wild were a better team with him on the ice than when they were without him on the ice. And that's exactly what you'd expect from a player of Kirill Kaprizov's stature. His ability on the ice is undeniable, honestly, in my opinion. He's one of the best players in the NHL, and I think he's going to continue to do that, continue to be that for the next few years, just with his electric abilities, ability to play make for others, score for himself. He does it all that you're asking for out of a forward, especially a winger, and I think he's someone that the Minnesota Wild are going to continue to build around. And Wild fans, you need to be excited about this. This is a big-time retention. I thought there was a real chance he was leaving the NHL. Instead, he does decide to stay put, and you only had to spend $9 million on annual average value. That is a very good contract, in my opinion. Now, I know for hockey terms, that is expensive. This isn't like the NBA, where you see a max contract at $38 million per year. It's not like that. The NHL, this is a lot of money still, but for a player of Kaprizov's stature, I think it is actually a good deal. We've seen some other players like Jeff Skinner for my Buffalo Sabres get contracts very similar to this, and Jeff Skinner is by no means Kirill Kaprizov. I think that Kaprizov is a much better player than a guy like Jeff Skinner and a lot of other guys right in this money bracket. I think he's a player that I would have considered to be an 8-figure-a-year type player, someone who's making $10+ million. They get him at 9 and convince him to stay in the United States for at least 5 more seasons. They have him under contract now. Now for the Minnesota Wild, it's all about trying to build up other places. They spent a first-round pick on a goaltender this past draft, and I think that they're going to need a little bit more help along that forward line to kind of build out a little bit more depth in that organization. Defensively, they've always been strong. They're going to continue to be strong with the defensemen that they put out on the ice. So it's really about trying to build in a little bit more depth into the forward lines, not the defensive pairings. And I think there at this point, Kirill Kaprizov is going to be a key part of that. Minnesota, you have to be excited about this. I know I've said that a few times already this video, but he's just so good, so electric, so fun to watch. Phenomenal move here for the Minnesota Wild. It's massive that they were able to retain him, and I think that this is going to be a big part, a big pivotal moment for the Minnesota Wild franchise. We'll see exactly how they perform this next year. Again, if you guys did like today's video, leave a like on it. Subscribe if you are new to Utility Sports. We'd love to have you on board what we're doing here. We're just about pushing 4,000 subscribers, so it'd be awesome to have you. And we'll catch you guys in the very next video.